So my name is Anima Patil Sable. And thank you for this opportunity, Manoj Da. I'm really humbled and in the presence of all you accomplished folks here. So it's an honor and I'm thankful for it. So this is not a keynote speech that I've well rehearsed or anything. This is a story coming straight from my heart, a story of a little girl who grew up with an astronaut dream in India in the late 70s and 80s. You know how challenging it was. The dream took seed in my heart when I was little. I don't even remember the age, might be 3 years, 4 years. I grew up in Jalgaon, Maharashtra. In the summers, we would sleep on the terrace, right? I'm sure many of you did, and so you can relate to it. And at that time, we did not have this amount of light pollution. The skies were dark, and the galaxy arm, you could see even that. So when I looked at all of that as a child, I would wonder what all is up there, and I would get really curious. And can we go up there? I studied at St. Joseph's Convent School in Jalgaon. In our school, we had a book exhibition. And in that book exhibition, I saw books with pictures of astronauts laying on their backs and launching into space. And that told me this is how you go up there. And so since then, I've wanted to become an astronaut and go up there. But like I mentioned, the only way I knew, I kept figuring out throughout my high school years, how do I do this? How do I get to become an astronaut? The only example was Rakesh Sharma ji. He was a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force. That's how he got picked to be an astronaut. So I thought, okay, let me become a fighter pilot as well. So I got the Air Force application, bachelor's in physics or bachelor's in engineering. And my dad's condition was see how what we girls had to deal with, and maybe even today some girls have to deal with. Whatever you study, you have to study here. He himself had studied MA in Bombay University, and he wanted his girls to study in Bombay when he was studying there. But times changed, and he did not feel that it was a secure environment for us to be by ourselves. So his condition was whatever you study, study here. So I decided to do a bachelor's in physics, which was accessible to me, and I loved physics, astronomy, astrophysics, right? So I did a bachelor's in physics, passed out with a distinction. While I was doing that, I joined the NCC to make myself physically fit and strong because I want to become a fighter pilot in the Air Force and then astronaut, right? So wanted to challenge myself. But when I got the Air Force application, the first condition still was you have to be a male to apply. I thought, let me just ignore that. What will they do? At the most, my application will get rejected. So I'm going to still apply. But the second condition was you need to have a perfect 20/20 vision. And I had a slight myopia at that time. It's gone now. I got it removed. It was a small myopia, but my dreams were crushed basically. I was preparing towards this goal and I couldn't apply. And so everything was over for me. That's moping and sobbing, summer, crying my heart out. But then my dad suggested there was a master's in computer applications, a new degree that had started there. So, long story short, I became a software engineer after I did my master's in computer applications and worked in Mumbai for a couple of years and got picked by a company in California to come over as a software consultant. So, went to California, San Jose. While working there, I would see the NASA Ames Research Center. So seeing that, the dream that had gone dormant started beckoning me again. This is my opportunity. Even though I was 30, I had a 3-year-old, I had a full-time job. I thought, let me do something about this. I'm not just going to keep wondering, what if I had tried, right? So I decided to do a second master's in aerospace engineer. Now, my husband and my parents, they're like, you have a kid, you have a full time job, you have a big house. Why do you need to do all this now? Just relax and enjoy your life. Of course, they wouldn't understand it. And their concern was you'll not be able to do justice to your kid, to your family. So I worked extra hard and proved to them my family, my duties for everyone was going to be my priority. My goals, my dreams were going to be secondary, but I am going to still pursue the master's. So with initial resistance, I started the master's. It was really challenging, as you can imagine. We don't have a Kambali Bai. We have to be the Kambali Bai. So we have to do everything by ourselves there in the US, right? But I managed. I had to stretch myself, work late nights on my assignments, wake up early mornings. So it was challenging. By the time I finished the degree, I had my younger one. So you can imagine how difficult that was. But eventually, my parents and my husband saw that she's doing her best and she's trying to manage everything, balance everything so properly. So they started supporting me. So I won their support through my actions. So now I'm done with my master's in aerospace engineering. I want to go work for NASA, but I'm not a US citizen yet. So I had to reluctantly give up my Indian citizenship because India does not offer dual citizenship. So I became a US citizen and I got the first opportunity immediately about to become a citizen in a month. And I got the call to work on the Kepler mission. Kepler is a space based telescope, school bus sized telescope, which was launched in 2009 to look for Earth like planets around sun like stars in their habitable zone. So basically, we are trying to find an Earth 2.0. So I got to work on the Kepler mission, worked on NASA's supercomputer while I was working on that mission. And I started also pursuing my own interest apart from my role at NASA, my interest in astronautics. I knew it was kind of late, but I wanted to try and die with the satisfaction one day that I tried. Even now, I know I got a very late start and I've still been pursuing my interest. I've still been applying to the NASA astronaut program. Even though I got to apply the first time, I was already 38. Age is not a written factor, but I plan to continue applying at least a couple of times. I'm building my profile, astronaut application. I continue to build all these skills to see all these pictures in the space suits. That's a private commercial program. So we are testing the performance of that spacesuit. I've flown in a Falcon 20 aircraft. We fly parabolas. That's the way you simulate zero gravity. And so that's how we test. So these experiences also tell me, I test myself. I'm dreaming of becoming an astronaut, but do I have it in me? Do I have the right stuff? So that's how I've been challenging, overcoming some challenges. uh, and yeah, continuing to pursue my dreams. Today, I work on the Artemis missions. Artemis is NASA's next program to send us back to the moon. Why moon? Because we cannot directly go to Mars. Mars is 100 million miles away, right? 300,000 million miles away at a time. And we do not have tested technologies to help our astronauts become self sufficient and survive on Mars for 2 to 3 years because a Mars mission will at least be 1.5 to 2 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the moon, which is closest to us and accessible, easily accessible to us. Plus, it is an environment very similar to Mars, right? It's an extreme environment, no atmosphere, reduced gravity. So we are going to use it as a test bed to test technologies and prove those technologies then that we can then send to Mars. So these are called NASA's exploration missions. And I'm working on the exploration missions today. I'm in the flight operations directorate. So we manage all the space station operations on the International Space Station. And when we go back to the moon, we will be managing the flight operations of basically, the Mission Control Center in Houston. We are flight controllers in the Mission Control Center. And our team, EVA, it's not EVA, it's EVA. EVA is extravehicular activity. Extravehicular activity basically means spacewalks. So our team plans all the spacewalks that our astronauts perform on the space station, and now they'll perform those on the moon, the lunar surface. We train astronauts on the spacesuits. So first, we have to become the experts on the spacesuits. So you see, I want to become an astronaut. I don't know if I'll get to become an astronaut, but today I am training myself before I train our astronauts. So I get to do all the same stuff. I will eventually next year, hopefully, 2026, and that's a goal. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be in our NASA EMU, Extravehicular Mobility Unit. That's the white spacesuit. If you guys have watched NASA spacewalks outside the station, those are the white spacesuits that our astronauts wear during the spacewalks. So I'll get to suit up and dive in the NBL, which is the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. It is a 40 feet deep pool where our ISRO astronauts actually are going to come and train because ISRO does not have an NBL, the type of facility yet. So ISRO is working with NASA after Axiom 4 mission. I got to work on Axiom 4, on which Shubhanshu Shukla flew up to the space station. Got to meet him when he came for the training at Johnson Space Center. So these are the kind of exciting things I'm getting to do. And so I don't know how far I'll get, if I'll get to fly to be an astronaut. If I get to fly like Shubhanshu, buy a seat on the Dragon spacecraft, but I don't have $65 million. So I can't do that. But I'm hopeful that one day NASA will even start hiring people who are a little older and will get to fly. But that's my story. It's a story of persistence, patience. Some of you might relate to what all I've been through, right? All the women folk, I'm sure it's challenging for us women always. And some of you might find some inspiration in there. Some of you might think, so what? But I'm sure I can assure you, you will be able to tell your girls, the little ones today, that yes, you can dream big. And if you're really passionate about your dream, if you're really determined and dedicated towards your goals, you can definitely achieve them. I haven't become an astronaut or flown into space yet, but I'm getting to do all those exciting activities that I would do as an astronaut. So even that's fulfilling. I knew with a late start, this is the best I've been able to do, and I keep going. So that was all I had to share with you all. Thank you for being such patient listener. Dixie. Are we good on time? Yeah, maybe a couple of questions from the audience. Any questions? No questions? Yes, now.
Anima, it was wonderful listening to you. It was almost like a journey, going with you, along with you. It was so very beautiful. My one question is what are the physical fitnesses that you try for before going? The training is all right, but what are the do's and the don'ts for the physical fitness?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And all our astronauts have to go through a Type 3 Air Force medical exam. Not only our astronauts, we train to be as flight controllers, right? When we work in the mission control, what are we doing? As flight controllers, we are monitoring the spacecraft systems, the spacesuit systems when the astronauts go out for their spacewalks. So that's an environment where their life is at risk, right? They're putting their lives at risk, and so we have to monitor all the systems. So even we have to go through the Type 3 Air Force medical exam every year. It's an annual checkup we have to do. So all our systems need to be working, even the ears, especially because we are listening on the loops in the mission control center. So the crew is talking, the different teams are talking. So it gets really chaotic sometimes. And so we have to be physically fit. So, yeah, everything from the head to the toe you need to be in a perfect physical. So my team especially inspires me now. Everyone is so driven. The team of EVA operations is a really highly accomplished folks. Everyone is really highly accomplished. And we get to do these amazing things because we all are so physically fit. So we all challenge ourselves, challenge each other to stay physically. And that's what I'm trying to do now as well. Hope I answered your question. And he has the microphone.
Thank you. First of all, woman to woman, heart to heart, you rock on, woman.
Thank you.
And you are inspiration to, I think, starting from this hall, it's going to percolate down to everyone who's going to listen to your story.
That will be mission accomplished for me.
May you shine on, always.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
That when you were training as a young mother to your firstborn, and then a very, very young mother to your secondborn, to the women here who are younger professionals and have a long professional life ahead, I would like you to share that one hack that they can use when, when their mental toughness is going down. What is that one thing, one hack of life that will keep on going, that if Anima could use it then, can I customize it in my life?
Absolutely.
So please share that one hack.
And that's a very awesome question or a suggestion. My one hack is
the positive attitude that I've always kept. No matter what. People around you will tell, why do you need to do this? Even my friends, actually, I was surprised. All the girls, they would say, इतना slog क्यों करना है? इस उम्र में, इस stage पे क्यों करना है? So I'm like, it's okay. They can say what they want, but I know what I want to do. I know what my goal is. And if I can manage everything and balance everything, then that does not mean I compromise on my duties for my loved ones, right? I see that happening sometimes, and that's not fair either. So you can do everything. All you need is a positive attitude. That helps you when you feel mentally or emotionally drained even, right? Sometimes negative comments make you feel depressed. So what I do is, what I've done, I've gone through those phases as well. Shed those tears out and then start thinking, all the negativity drains out with those tears, and then you start building your positive spirit up. Okay, why should I waste my time on this? There is so much better to do. So the positivity is the biggest thing that I would say. Yeah, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself no matter what people around are going to tell you. And as long as you're handling your duties properly with your goals, then it works out. It's my experience. It definitely works out. Thank you. Okay, so we can move on. Thank you, everyone.